Now, in addition to all the basic supplies that I have already mentioned, there's an array of different mediums that you can work with in the advanced level of artistry. Now, none of these things are required by any means, but a lot of these types of things will make your life easier and make your work a lot more creative. You have more flexibility, and it's just all around better to be more informed about the different layers of artistry than it is to just have basic supplies. Now, I had mentioned the pencils that were suggested, the number 2 pencil and then the ebony pencil. Here's the ebony. Now, in addition to those pencils, I would suggest to get, if you want, as more an advanced artist, I would suggest to get a series or a case of different types of hardness in pencils. They come in a package kind of similar to this, like a little tin case. There's a lot of different brands out there. You can find them at Michaels or where else? Oh, Dick Blick, Walmart. You can find them on Amazon very easily. And what they have is each pencil has a different softness or hardness. I have a little graph here. So if you look at the graph here, it will show you the different shades that the pencil produces based on how soft and how hard the shade is. Now this is like a full collection. I think there's like 24 of them on there. Most little packages about this size will come with like 12, and they range from what's called B, which is bold, and it'll go from like B to like 2B, 3B, 4B, 5B, 6B, all the way up to a 9B, and the same thing for hardness. So it'll go from H all the way to H2, H3, H4, all the way to H9. And then in the middle, there's 2. One is called HB, which is essentially like the neutral, and F, which is also a neutral, but leaning towards the harder side. So those are pencils. If you do a lot of sketching, you do a lot of pencil work, I definitely would suggest to get a collection of pencils. I have these available in the classroom for my classroom students, but given that you'll be at home, I can't afford to send each type of pencil home with a bunch of different students. So if you're interested in doing a lot of pencil work, that's the stuff that I would suggest for that. Something else that's really easy to come by is chalk. Now, chalk comes in an array of different colors and textures, and chalk is really awesome to work with. I love to work with it on black paper. I think it comes out really clean and sleek. But chalk is very inexpensive. They come in all kinds of different assortments and packages, and all kinds of different densities as well. Pastels. Pastels are really nice to work with. There are either acrylic pastels or oil pastels. Oil is probably the most well-known type of pastel, and they come in an array of different colors and brands and styles, and pastels are really nice to work with as well. Colored pencils. If you work with a lot of colored work, having a collection of colored pencils is really nice. Now this brand right here, Prismacolor, is a really, really nice brand. You can find them in pencils, markers, watercolor palettes. Prismacolor has a lot of different products out there. They are a little bit expensive. I'm not sure how much this particular package costs. I would assume probably anywhere between the $15 and $20 value. But they have all kinds of different like markers and stuff that can get pretty pricey. But if you do a lot of like illustration work, Prismacolor is a great brand to work with. And having colored pencils just in general, even if you get the Crayola ones, having colored pencils is really nice. Gives you a little bit more flexibility, gives you a little bit more creativity when it comes to working with color. Markers. I have a ton for the classroom. If you wanted to get a package of your own markers, Crayola has washable markers, which are really nice. Prismacolor, as I had mentioned, they have a bunch of markers as well. When you go to Michaels, you can see a ton of different markers and with different tips and different shades and all kinds of stuff. Even watercolor style markers, which are really cool. Even the ones with the teeny tiny little fine tip markers are nice. But again, it gives you a little bit more flexibility. Watercolors. Watercolors are great to have. They're very inexpensive. They last a long time. They have a palette inside and then a washboard on the top. And there's actually even a spot to put your paintbrush in there as well. And of course, if you're going to be working with watercolors, you're going to need to get some paintbrushes. Watercolors don't really need the most expensive paintbrusches. You're basically just blobbing paint onto the surface. But there are thousands of different types of paintbrushes out there. I mean, I have a whole bucket right here. A lot of these are fairly basic paintbrushes. They're just rounded topped, or you have some ones that are a little thinner, or you have ones that have a flat top on the top of them there, or ones that are a little bit more stout like this. Again, they give you a little bit more flexibility. So that's watercolors and the brushes. Now, when it comes to other types of paint that you could also get if you were interested, I would suggest acrylic. Acrylic paint is great. I love the viscosity, the thickness of this paint. I love the mixability of this paint. There are many different types of paints. There is acrylic, there is tempera paint, which is very translucent. There's watercolor, as I already mentioned. There's oil-based paint, which those get pretty expensive. But this type of paint here, acrylic paint, is fairly inexpensive. And if you do get paint, I wouldn't suggest to get all the colors of the rainbow. I would suggest to get black and white, blue, yellow, and red. Because with these 4 colors, just like up here I have my color wheel, with these 3 colors, you can make any color that you want. And then with these, you can make them as light or as dark as you want. So these are the primary colors, which we'll talk about that this school year. But this will give you a little bit more flexibility. Another really inexpensive supply that is an option if you want to get one would be crayons. I have a ton of them in the classroom. Crayons are really nice. They're really inexpensive. They come in an array of different styles. I think these ones here are fluorescent. These are fluorescent crayons. And then I have just a regular bunch of plain crayons. They come in like 8 packs, 24 packs, 56 packs. They come in huge bulk amounts, or you can get them in really small amounts too. They're very inexpensive. They're easy to come by. You don't really have the ability to erase any of these things, but it still gives you a little bit more flexibility. And then the last thing I wanted to bring up was paper. There is an array of different types of paper out there to work with, depending on what type of work that you're going to be working in. So there's specific types of paper. For example, there's watercolor paper, like I had mentioned in my previous video. There's just black style paper, which this is a specific type of drawing black paper where the texture is really smooth, and it makes it really nice to work with chalk or pastels. There is heavyweight paper. You can hear the snap, as opposed to lightweight paper. You can hear that. So lightweight paper is very flimsy, where heavyweight paper is very thick. There's also what they call butcher's paper. It is a medium density. It has a little bit more of a texture to it, and it works really well with all kinds of different types of mediums: chalk, charcoal, watercolor, markers, crayons, paints, and it's a really good practice paper. It also has different shades. So these are this is like a tan, as opposed to this white, opposed to this very crisp white, and then all the way over to this like dark black. So again, all these different things that I am mentioning, they're all suggestions. You do not have to get these things, but But if you're looking to become an artist or work in the artistic field and you really want to try to work with these tools, I would suggest, considering that you will be doing e-learning, I would suggest that you try to look into some of these things. Now, your projects will be highlighted much in advance so that you can, if you are looking forward to a particular project, you're like, you know what, I'm going to try painting this project, or I'm going to try to work with pencil with this project. I'm going to give you plenty of time so you can order these things online or pick them up at your local arts and crafts or hobby shop, which will make it really easy for you. But those are all the supplies that I normally provide in class. And if you want to go out and get some of these supplies on your own, feel free. If you do not have access to any of these supplies, email me, or when we have one of our Zoom meetings, just let me know, and I'll see what I can do about giving you some supplies. But these supplies are expensive, and they were purchased for the school and in class, and unfortunately, I can't allow many of them to go home because they will never come back. So, but that's all the information that I have for you guys for supplies. Thank you for watching this video, and if you have any questions, just shoot me an email and I'll see you on Canvas. So enjoy the video.